Hey dear Virgo, welcome to your reading. I'm Empress Rose, and you are last but not least this week. Oh my goodness, someone asked if I'd forgotten Virgo. How could I ever forget Virgo? I'm sure if I could have forgotten Virgo, I would have by now, but I cannot forget Virgo. I will never forget Virgo. So we're going to start with the Oracle of Mystical Moments deck here for an intuitive start here, and then we'll move to the Santa Muerte deck for a more traditional tarot spread, and if I have time, and we'll go with the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle deck for a little punctuation at the end. All right, Virgo, what do we got here? All right, 2 seems good. A long way home. So you've already committed to something. You've upped anchor and you're already going there. There's a companion possibly at some distance here from you, but you're going somewhere. But there's a sense of surrender having to happen here. You don't really know where this is going. You don't really know how long before you land. We do have an elephant here. We have like a sense of loyalty and strength. There is, but you've already made some sort of commitment with pulling up this anchor. You've already made some sort of commitment, some sort of decision has been made. Where it takes you, how it all unfolds, you don't know. You might as well get uncomfortable with the uncertainty because there's not a lot of certainty here. Your very mode of transportation is a mode of surrender. Here's the decision you got to make. Here's the rest of what's going to happen. Spirit comes in and moves or doesn't move as it so chooses, right? Are you going to end up in the same place as this other balloon? I don't know. You might have a little caravan here going, but hopefully the wind blows you both in the same direction, but it might not, right? So this is actually just becoming comfortable with uncertainty. You've already made a decision, you've already made a commitment, and now you have to kind of let it unfold the way it wants to unfold, the way Spirit's going to let it unfold. So you've already made some sort of decision, some sort of commitment, and it could take a very long time for this to unfold here. But yeah, you just might as well get comfortable with things being up in the air, get comfortable with uncertainty, get comfortable with the length of this journey that you're on, because it is going to be a long, long ride. And then we have Queen Bee. So we have someone here. So Queen Bee has changed a little bit in my readings here, but this is somebody who has like a pot of honey, and then they're also going to defend that pot of honey. So on the one hand, they've got something that you want. On the other hand, they've got they're going to defend themselves, and they're going to stand up for themselves, and they're not just going to let you reach in like Winnie the Pooh and pull out a gob of honey whenever you feel like it. You're going to have to deal with some defensiveness, some stingers possibly. This always really does look to me like an actual someone who identifies as female. I mean, both of almost all these cards, you know, they display a gender, and it's always like it doesn't matter. It's just a person or a situation. But the Queen Bee always does look like, to me, someone who identifies as female. And so she's got like, you know, this on the one hand, on the other hand. She also looms pretty large here. She's pretty big. A bit of a giantess, at least in your imagination. This could be you. This could be somebody else. And the thing to know is that this person is just protecting something that it's almost like they're protecting the work of others. You know, like her bees do all this work. She doesn't want someone just coming in there and taking whatever they want. She's going to protect the work that's gone into what she has. And you may feel that this person, you may feel that this person is lashing out, but this person is protecting the honey that they have. There's also, you know, a birds and a bees vibe here. But Queen Bee can also be, you know, someone who can be a little cruel. But the way I'm coming to see it is that they're not, I mean, that's the Queen Bee, you know, in high school, the person who's popular, but they're not popular, they're just feared. They just destroy people who don't give them what they want. So so it's got a little bit of that vibe, but it is somebody, but they're just defending what they've got. You know, they're it's that. Is the bear chasing you, or is the bear protecting their cubs? Did you walk into the bear's home? This is... Okay, so for the Santa Muerte spread, Virgo, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. So, yeah, this could be a totally different thing than what we just did with the... We'll see. We'll see how it all connects. All right, so in your recent past, you have the Four of Swords. This is like nap time, taking a time out, taking a break from something, preparing. This can be making preparations for the future, regrouping after a battle. That's typically what this card traditionally is someone who's gone to battle and then they come home and they have their coffin. So there's always a coffin involved in this reading, or not always, but in this card, there's typically a coffin involved, no matter what deck I'm using. It doesn't have to be the Santa Muerte deck. They've prepared the coffin for their inevitable death. But in this, so you were preparing the coffin, you were preparing for, well, not for their inevitable death, but they didn't need it quite as soon as they thought they did. So they're just taking a break, taking a rest, regrouping. They came home from battle. They surprising themselves, weren't completely dead. So they're just taking a break, regrouping, trying to figure out what they want to do next, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit of a break time, but there is a sense of exhaustion. We've got 1 candle burning out of 4. We've got just kind of dimming the lights and taking a nap. You know, taking a nap is, you know, we rest up. Rest is preparation. So this is a resting card. So you've been in sort of a resting mode, maybe a little bit of stasis, a time out from something, taking a break from something. It exhausted you. And then in your current situation, you have the 8 of Cups, which is so fascinating because this card is just baffling me. It keeps coming up and it keeps messing with my mind. But this is like a heaviness. There's a heaviness on your mind, a sorrow, a grief. There's been an ending, and it's weighed very heavily on you. You've been very aware of your own feelings. There's been maybe even a depression here. With this 4 of Swords and this 8 of Cups, there is like a strong sense of depression, a heaviness. Definitely an ending here that's been extremely heavy and extremely difficult to process or deal with, and has required some taking a time out. You know, we can't always take a time out from it. Life just keeps coming at us, but there was like some taking a time out from some aspect here, processing and ending, dealing with it. It's been very heavy. It weighs on you very heavily. In your inner landscape, we have this Ace of Swords, and this is an epiphany. So this is either you're having an epiphany, you're having a realization. Look at this. There's this clarity coming down from the clouds, a magical kind of clarity, dawning. Something's dawning on you. There's a realization, or there could just be a longing for some sort of epiphany. But this is truth coming in, realization, understanding, maybe even clear communication. And you're either hoping for it, you're fearing it, or it is here and it's just on your mind, but it's not in your life yet. But oh, I love it. I love it. It's right over this Lover's card. So there's some sort of epiphany coming in, or that you'd really like some clarity here. So the swords are going to be clarity, ideas, clear thinking, clear communication. And there could be something that you really want to do, or it has come in and you're just realizing it and processing it and figuring out what it all means. In your, what's at issue here is this Ace of Cups, but it's going to be in reversed. So So this Ace of Cups in the upright is this also, you know, we have this Ace of Swords and then we have this Ace of Cups. This is a new emotional beginning, a new connection, a new idea, but it just didn't happen. It's not happening. You could be feeling very drained. I mean, look at this Four of Swords and this Eight of Cups is very drained, feeling very drained and very worn out here. The Ace of Cups could be a new beginning not coming in. You were wanting that. You were wanting a new beginning, but it's not here. It's not happening. And there's a sense of feeling drained, feeling, you know, it's supposed to come in as this deluge, but instead the desert's still here. It's like, where's the rain? We've done everything I can to get something new started here. Or I really want, there is some sort of new beginning that you wanted. I mean, you have a new beginning here, but this one is no deluge. This is like, well, I pulled up anchor. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this come what may. And this is just, so, you know, we have a new beginning here, an epiphany, something coming in. This could be the upping anchor here. But then we've got this Ace of Cups here. It's drained, you know, the cup's upside down. It's empty. There's an emptiness, a drainedness, an exhaustion. But man, you've been napping here in this Four of Swords, but this Eight of Cups has you still very worn out, very tired. Something very much weighing on you. And then this Ace of Cups is just feeling too drained, not feeling inspired, not feeling, your cup just isn't full. And maybe that's a bit of what this Four of Swords is. You know, we can't pour from an empty cup, right? So maybe there's a little bit of just this drainedness I'm feeling right now all of a sudden, just drained and tired, and a desert instead of a marsh, like and then in your environment you have the Knight of Swords. So this could be an actual person or a vibe going on around you. This is so the Knights are going to have some bravery, maybe a little bit of recklessness. It always depends on what we're going to call it. Depends on how it turns out. If it turns out great, you were brave. If it turns out awful, you were reckless. So, but there's some bravery here, and there's, I want to say, you know, this is typically my good mental hygiene card. Like, we have this Ace of Swords, we have the sword coming in, and this is like being able to handle the truth, to swallow the truth, to be brave. So there's something in your environment or a person that's very brave and very careful with their words, very careful with their ideas, their thoughts. This is good mental hygiene. Someone's being very careful here. The Knight of Swords can often be our bravest, but here we have this bravery being very precisely wielded. And careful, being careful with words, being careful with communication. I mean, typically the Knight of Swords is one of our brashest knights. Is he as crazy as the Knight of Wands? No, but he's got a sword, and but it's a sword of truth. It's a sword of honesty. It's a sword of careful communication. So somebody here is being extremely careful about what they say and how they communicate. And then in your, and it's coming right, you have a lot of swords here. You have 3 swords here. So we're talking a lot about ideas and communication. And then this Four of Swords is coming right underneath this Four of Swords. So this Knight of Swords could have to do with your recuperation and your rest. Yeah. So then we have this a lot of dead airspace there, where you're just looking at the top of my head, my funky part here. So in your environment, or no, your to-do list is this Eight of Pentacles. This is having something very precious, holding on. This is holding on to something. It's yours. It's yours, and you're going to hold on to it. It's very valuable to you. I want to say you've worked hard for it. This is your purse. This is your time, your energy, your money. This is something physical, something in real life, and it's very valuable to you. So it's just a holding on to what's precious to you, holding on to what's valuable to you. And it's just resting there in your hands. You don't have to grasp it or cling to it. You know it's yours. I think it's interesting how it comes right underneath this Eight of Cups. And this Eight of Cups is actually looking, this Eight of Cups is looking at this Knight of Swords. Wondering, there's a heaviness, but they're also just, I mean, normally they're looking here, but the way this is laid out, they're looking at this Knight of Swords. And looking at that person who's being very careful, very cautious, uncharacteristically so. But you've got something, you've got some sort of treasure in your hands, it's yours, and you're just holding it. There's just a holding here with an open hand. There's no clinging, no grasping. It's yours, and there's a waiting. There's a lot of waiting here too, right? This journey, you've already committed to it. It's yours, and you're waiting for the wind to blow. You're waiting for something to come through to change the dynamic, but you've already made a commitment to some sort of process or some sort of thing. And then we have the Lovers here. This is where you're going. This is the end result. I love how this sword is like, and then it turns into a key right here. It comes right in. The sword of truth, the sword of understanding. You might be seeing something very clearly now, and it's creating a choice for you. It's creating a, so this could be just sitting with your feelings, sitting with your emotions, and patiently waiting for something, right? Or just holding on to what's yours. Yeah, this reading is coming in so disordered to me. It's very frustrating. But then we have the Lovers. This is where you could be going here. This is a possible outcome. But the Lovers isn't just about, like, Lovers to me. It's about the path of heart, you know. And this could be the key. This epiphany, this thing coming in that you're starting to realize and starting to understand, could be the key to opening up this path of heart. So the Lovers has shown up a few times this week, but it is about these choices. About like the thing that is logical, makes sense, that we can explain, that everybody agrees with, that we know is the right thing to do, that is just obvious, very practical, shows up really well, always wins the pro-con list. And then there's this other thing that's like, the heart really wants it. The heart's like, oh my gosh, that's what I want. And it typically doesn't make any sense. So this isn't a card about making the stupid choice to prove how much faith you have in the universe or your intuition. This is about making the choice where you're following your heart even though it doesn't make any sense. So you're going to be coming up with a choice. Right now you're just sitting with something that's very precious to you, but then where you go is the Lovers, a decision. It is the Romeo and Juliet card. It is like, are you going to go with the person that you love, but your families hate each other and it's going to be problematic, or are you going to go with whoever your family says you can date? And you know, it's just that decision between, you know, going for the career that you really love and going for one that looks like it'll probably make the bills, or like your safety career versus your passionate career, that kind of thing. So you could be coming to a choice, a decision, a fork in the road, where you're going to need to decide if you're going to live a life according to your heart, according to your what you want, or according to what makes sense, according to what's logical, what's easy, or what shows up. Oh my goodness. These Kuan Yin ones really had a lot to say here, but I'll take the two that went on the floor. So yeah, this reading came in really funky for me. Really fascinating. I love you, Virgos, but this reading was not the easiest thing for me to flow through here. But I hope you got something out of it anyway. So we're going to go with the Wild Kuan Yin here. About feelings, so we have one about feeling guided, feeling supported. Be guided now. Allow yourself to be guided. The guide cannot take the steps for you. That is your job. But the guide can show you the way. It is up to you if you choose to take it, whether you tread carefully, dance, or run along that sacred pathway towards the loving arms of the Holy Mother. She is always there to help you. So you have to take the steps yourself. I mean, you have to make the commitment yourself. There's a way in which life is going to meet you halfway, but you've got to make the steps. It's up to you if you choose to take it. I like this. That's what this card is. It's up to you. You're realizing something that's going to bring in a choice in the future for you, a decision that needs to be made. Right now, I think you're just sitting with it. I mean, there's so much just sitting. There's the Four of Swords, the Eight of Cups, and this Eight of Pentacles of just sitting, just waiting, stillness here. And we have this stillness here too, this like, my heater just came on. We have this sense of stillness here, a commitment having been made, but no movement yet. So, so maybe this is saying that you might be waiting for movement, but you might need to make movement. You have to take those steps yourself. And then letting down the boundaries. I love how both of these have you dancing in community with somebody else, with other people. Walls come tumbling down. To define ourselves against pain, we can create walls of protection around us, sometimes without even realizing it. Those walls make it hard for love and joy to enter our world. Maybe we need those walls once upon a time, but now it's time for those walls to come tumbling down because divine love wants to enter your world. I love that. It's dancing. Some unsettled energy needs to come in, wants to come in with some purpose here. And maybe that's what this Ace of Cups is that wall, not letting that new beginning come in. Maybe not seeing what I would expect to see if you were intentionally not letting something come in. All right, Virgo, thanks so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. I really appreciate them. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope you have a wonderful week.